show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing. This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing.
All right, welcome to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me is Robert Alexander. How's it going, buddy?
I'm here, man. I'm here. I might sound terrible tonight, y'all, but bear with me. Hopefully, I look better than I sound.
Our Stephen A is a little under the weather today, but that's all right. We still appreciate you coming on, buddy. Sakura will be joining us at some point, and I think Javi wanted to speak on stuff as well, so you'll be waiting on those guys to join in on the conversation too. But let's jump right into the thick of things here with Pacquiao and Ugas, because I have a feeling we're going to be talking about this for most of the show. But Rob, how did it go? Did it go as you saw it going? Because I mean, I know you predicted Ugas on the last show, but it was more of just I don't care, so I'm just going to pick Ugas.
Again, this is underlining issues with this fight. This is not the fight we wanted to see. Yes, I thought Ugas could beat Pacquiao, especially considering he hasn't been in the ring 2 years. Aside from that fact, there's a style clash. He proved it to be a major style clash issue. There was rust. I mean, so you can't really just say, and old age, both displayed in this fight. And let's face it, even though he won the fight, Ugas still wasn't entertaining. He wasn't entertaining. And that's the whole issue with my overall take on this fight. Is, again, who the hell cares? Ugas won the fight. I don't give a damn.
But so you're saying you don't even care the outcome of the fight. It didn't matter if Pacquiao won either. It was just, it didn't matter.
The legacy fight mattered when it was Spence. It matters when it's Crawford. When it's Ugas out there taking them out, then all you have right now is just another Cotto situation where he got beat by Saddam Ali. And Saddam Ali never amounted to shit afterwards.
I don't know, man. Okay, so let's go back a little bit, all right? So we're saying either a prime Pacquiao or at least a primer Pacquiao than what Ugas faced. Do you feel the outcome would be the same?
When Pacquiao was in his prime, Pacquiao would be able to, I wouldn't say walk circles around Ugas, because Ugas is very technical. He reminds me a lot of Lara. Very technical, very skilled fighter. But he's not elite. I don't care what anybody tries to put him up right now. He's still not an elite fighter. And it shows in the ring when he's not as entertaining as he should be. I think anybody else in that fight, and this is the argument you need to have, if Spence was in that fight, he knocks Pacquiao out.
It's possible. I'm not sure. But, no, we don't see you, Sakura. But we can hear you. So, but no, I don't know if Pacquiao gets knocked out by Spence. It is definitely a different style. And I think the style from Ugas is really what caused most of the issues. Yeah, Father Time showed up. But I think mainly the issue was the Cuban style.
I mean, Pacquiao didn't show up. It was a style clash. It was always going to be a style clash. But the old Pacquiao, if he showed up, there was some looks, some angles, power, heart, determination, hell, passion. None of that was there. None of that was there.
I mean, did you see Ugas' face after the fight? I mean, clearly he landed his own shots. I mean, his eyes are both swollen shut the day after.
Yeah, and a part of that is because he had to fight his ass. Ugas had to fight his ass off, and it still was a very lesser version of Pacquiao. Very, very lesser version of Pacquiao that he fought that night. Now, I'm not taking anything wrong. The style clash has something to do with it. Ugas was prepared. But who gives a damn? That's all I'm saying. Still, who cares?
Ugas barely lost to Porter. I think that it's going to be an interesting matchup if he does take on Spence. Do you not want to see that fight at all now? Is that just...
He is not entertaining enough. He is not entertaining enough. Now, everybody needs to start feeling sorry for Spence now. Because that matchup is way less money, way less fanfare, way less attraction than the Manny Pacquiao fight. I'd even say Manny Pacquiao could still step in and fight Spence, and people will want to see that before they see Spence versus Ugas.
Javi, you agree with that?
Can agree with that. I can agree with that. I think people already saw the fact that, you know, with all due respect, Manning is still a legend that he is, but I think Father Time already caught up to him. People want to see the young champions being tested. I guess the young champions, and Ugas already showed himself that he belongs in there, you know, with the top guys. Nobody gave him a chance. A lot of people gave him a chance, took it away from him, gave it right back to him prior to the fight. So you got to understand, you know, this is a new kid on the block. And actually, if you've been following boxing for some time, this is not really a new kid on the block. This is the kid that's been on the side, waiting for his chance patiently for some years. And when he finally got it with 12 days of notice, he came and delivered. He understood that the task that he had at hand. So he went and executed his plan with injury or not. And yeah, I think the whole thing flipped on Al Heyman. I think the whole thing flipped on the PVC, because sometimes that things work like that, you know. You set up things to be a certain way, but boom, you get thrown a curveball, and now your whole show doesn't go according to how you went. And Ugas didn't get the memo. Ugas was supposed to be the guy to lose, and so that Pacquiao can hold up the belt until, you know, fight somebody like Spence, and Spence will take the torch, be the next superstar. Ugas just messed up all those plans. He didn't get the memo that he was supposed to lose. So, yes, I'm glad that shit happened. And now, maybe now, they'll understand that what we really want to see, we didn't even want to see Spence Pacquiao anyways. We want to see Spence versus Crawford. That's what we want to see. We want to see Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney. That's what we want to see. We want to see Lomachenko versus Tank Davis. This is the type of matchups people want to see. You know what I'm saying? Not this in-house fighting so we can pass the torch and keep it between the house, because, you know, you on that side of the streets and we on this side of the avenue bullshit. We done with that.
Yeah, I think we've been done with that for quite some time, but it's still getting fed to us, the in-house garbage. Let's see. Dale People says, listen, Ugas was in no win situation. He beat a 42-year-old man. He's supposed to do that. If he lost, then he lost to a great fighter. Will Ugas go down in history as a great fighter? Probably not. He just happened to be in the right place at the right time.
But there's only supposed to be two outcomes for last Saturday night. Two. Spence knocks out Manny Pacquiao, or the great Manny Pacquiao comes to life, shows us why he's great, and irks out a decision victory over Spence. With Ugas, the only two outcomes is Manny wins or he loses and retires. That's it. Those are the only outcomes that people were expecting in that fight. With Ugas taking his victory, unfortunately, Dale, his name is still not out there. Even though he beat a legend in Pacquiao, his name is still not up there.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm sure that it will eventually get there, because now people just got to know, the casual fan just got to know who Ugas is, right? Now, yeah, his name is not a high profile yet, but when people see that, and he gets the type of matchups that are out there with the top guys, and Ugas hold his own, then he can put his name out there. You know what I'm saying? This is kind of like he was mandatory for Thurman before Thurman lost that belt to Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He was mandatory for the belt. So in reality, maybe he should have been the one that got the belt from Thurman, instead of, like, you know, Al Heyman money tricks, trying to keep it in-house with a high-profile name so people can get paid millions, and denying somebody like Ugas their chance to become champion, just like this happened.
Right. And Rob, as you said earlier, you know, Ugas, he's not entertaining. There's a lot of fighters that aren't blatantly entertaining. Rigondeaux, you know, for a good example. Lara, as you mentioned. I mean, these are great fighters, but they're really not the most entertaining of fighters either. They're not going to sell out any pay-per-views, are they? No, but They are at the peak. You know, they can be up there, and I think Ugas can be up there with pretty much any welterweight. He can hold his own. Do you still disagree with that?
Unfortunately, all those fighters you mentioned are good fighters, not great fighters. They're good fighters. Never was able to jump to the elite level when faced with an elite competition. They lost. So they are good fighters, not great.
They lost because, I mean, when Rigondeaux lost, he lost to like a bigger man, but he crushed Donito Donaire when Donito Donaire wasn't supposed to be elite. Nobody gave him a chance back then. Lara, a lot of people with two eyes, they know that he won against Canelo, so he just didn't get the decision. Just like Triple G, Triple G would have considered one of the greats if he would have got a fair decision on the first time, but he got robbed the first time, the second time. So guess what? Now according to those certain rules, I guess he's never gonna be great. He's gonna be good. I mean, I guess it's like like a pound for pound. It's subjective.
Unfortunately, Javi, I would love for you to name an elite fighter they beat since those names. They haven't beaten anybody since those names that we can even consider elite. In fact, none of us on this panel can probably even name a known name that they beat since those fights.
Talking about Triple G, I mean Derevyanchenko. That's not a no name.
That's not a name.
That's not a no name.
Throwing out Derevyanchenko. He hasn't won shit. He hasn't won shit. And now they want to talk about him fighting for a title again with Munguia.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people talk about names. I mean, Bronner's a name. He's not a great. It's just people just know him because I guess the marketing, the whole shenanigans around him. That's not a name. A lot of people know him. That's a name, but I don't think Braun is gonna go down in the stories like one of the great ones.
This started to sound like last episode because you were talking about names and we're not talking about fighters. Okay, you were talking about Amir Khan's a name. Come on with that shit, Rob.
He's a fighter. He's a boxer. He paid his dues.
Who?
Amir Khan has paid his dues.
Amir Khan, how? Every time he stepped up to the plate, like you said, at least the other guys that you said that when they step up to the elite, they didn't lose. When Khan can step up to the elite, he got knocked the fuck out. So how the hell is he like a great one or has a name?
Here's the thing: Ugas barely lost to Porter, right? And Spence barely beat Porter. Okay, if you're talking about measuring sticks, Ugas has got to be near the top of the welterweight division.
Mm-hmm.
But we are going to speak about that a little bit further in our tweet of the week, Sakura.
Oh, yeah. Hi, guys. Sorry I was having some little tech issues. You know how it is.
That happens a lot for us.
Well, we got Ugas himself, the WBA regular or super champ. I'm still confused on that. But anyway, what place do you have me among the best welterweights in the world? Hashtag thank God. Hashtag Team Ugas and hashtag El Milagro.
El Milagro. The miracle.
Milagro.
Yeah, that's like the miracle.
All right, so go ahead.
Yeah, so that's the question is like, let me see, my braids are going everywhere. That's the question is basically, I mean, where do we have him at now? And I sat and I thought about that afterwards, and I'm not quite sure yet.
I mean,
I've been having Ugas top 10. I've been having Ugas top 10. And after Saturday, and I'm going to jump the gun, you know what I'm saying, like other people, and be like, oh my God, he's number one pound for pound list. I ain't going to do that. But I think he belongs in the top 7. He definitely belongs in the top 7 after Saturday. I've been having the top 10.
He wants more details in there. He said, what number do you have him ranked at? You can't just say, you trying to get around the real number.
I would put him on number 5 on the welterweight.
Okay,
right. Welterweight.
Yeah. I strongly believe, I said it earlier to Rob, but I strongly believe this wasn't all just father time against Pacquiao. I think it was a big style clash, and it did not favor Pacquiao from the beginning. We talked about that in the pre-show, and we're still talking about it now. I mean, it did not work out for Pacquiao. I honestly think it was just Ugas for the most of it. Yes, he did show up, and he wasn't able to move like he usually does. But hell, he wasn't able to move really that well with Thurman, but he still was able to pull it off because Thurman played more to his strengths. This and the way Ugas counterpunches and he fights, it looked more like he was saying, either a Lara, and those style matchups do not favor well, and has never favored well for Pacquiao. Any counterpuncher, whether it be Juan Manuel Marquez or anyone else. Floyd Mayweather, you name it. So,
hey guys, Lucas. So, what's the number? Give me the ranking.
I'm gonna give him 4. I'm gonna say he's behind just a select few, and those few are the elite right now in the welterweight division. If he can step up and fight and actually beat one of them, he's one fight away from being elite to me.
Okay, so that means you definitely have Bud being. You have
Yes.
Bud and Spencer ahead of him as welterweights.
Yes. And Porter, even though I think he beat Porter, I want to see the rematch.
I think he beat Porter too, and I got Porter ahead of him as well.
Yes. But I want to see the rematch. I got to go with the actual, judging. Even though I didn't score it that way, I'm going to still go to the actual official scoring.
And the reason why I got Porter ahead of him is because the type of opposition that Porter has faced. Not because of a name.
That's
I
fair
don't
too.
go by names. I go by the resume, by what you have done in the sport. Your name, it could ring bells. Like for example, Bronner. But Bronner haven't done much. In the time he stepped up to the plate, he didn't deliver. So I don't go by names. But if you have faced solid opposition and you came out on top, or you handle yourself well, you're in the top 10.
Dale says, in my opinion, Ugas will be in a sea of good fighters. I think the age of 35, it will be very difficult to climb the ladder to greatness. 35, still somewhat young, but I do definitely agree with you. It's going to get harder. So if he's going to get those fights, he needs to get them now. And it's good for him that it is happening now. He's got the belt, and he's got this big win over Pacquiao. So now, hopefully, they will be forced to come to him. Because otherwise, Ugas is not going to get those fights. He has to have something that they want, because honestly, he is a huge risk and a very little reward, as we've talked about before. So Ugas is going to be avoided. Unfortunately for them, though, now if they want that WBA strap, they know where they got to go, and they got to go to Ugas.
Yeah, and Ugas will take those hard fights. Ugas
People
will not
like
be with the whole bullshit of,
When you take
oh,
guys,
let me
call
not
them
face
anytime
this guy
for the sake of
because
money, it don't matter, day or night.
high risk.
Now, Rob, we haven't heard from you on the ranking.
I got him at number 5. He's number 5, and I'm being modest. I have Spence, Crawford, Sean Porter, Keith Thurman. I have him above.
Okay.
Dave,
I'm really on the fence between Lucas and Rob on this. And the main reason is because, like Javi was saying, the experience of Porter, even though for some it's like Ugas beat Porter, for me, I don't feel like he did enough to beat a champion with a WBC title to warrant him winning over Porter that night. I think he kind of started skating along towards the end instead of just ending it, or at least going for the real clear definitive championship rounds. Now, when it came to Pacquiao, he must have learned from that mistake, because towards the end, during the championships round, he made it like very decisive and clear that he was winning those rounds. So I think he did learn from that experience. But I'm on the fence because I kind of wanted him at number 4, like Lucas is saying, with the 3 welterweights he mentioned ahead of him. But then on the other hand, I could put a Sean Porter ahead of him. I could put a Keith Thurman ahead of him because, well, actually, I kind of can't put Keith Thurman ahead of him because both fought Pacquiao. One got a W, one didn't.
that's right.
So I eliminated that one. But at the same time, I still got it where it's either, 3 or 4 in there. Now, the main problem I got, guys, is that when it comes to Pacquiao, I don't think it was age at all. I think it was more about the matchup and more about 2 years off ring rust, like I don't know what. You know what I'm saying? I really don't think that it had anything to do with his age. And also, I wanted to say one other thing though. If you guys had a pick out of those 3 and 4 pound for pounds you guys thought of, which one would you like to see Ugas go after next?
Well, I personally want to see the rematch against Porter, but after that fight with Ugas, I think he's going to set his sights a little higher. And I also agree with Dale, who said Porter won't fight Ugas again. He was happy with the last gift he got. You don't want to go too often. So, yeah, I don't think he's going to get that fight again against Porter. And Spence, I don't know. I mean, it's still a big risk. And is he even going to get those fights?
Yeah, and some would even say, they would argue Bud too. They would argue that Ugas may be ahead of Bud at this point because the level of competition, is a little better for Ugas at this point, just because he has the Pac win now. So, it's a lot of people that's going to throw that in the equation too.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I'm avoiding Ugas. If I'm either Spence or Crawford, I'm avoiding him. Porter, I can see taking the fight again actually more than the other two. I'm avoiding him. Like, I don't care if he has a title or not. I'm not going there. That Cuban style, I think, is going to cause problems for not only Crawford but Spence as well. And that can upset the mega fight between the two. So if they're smart, they will just fight each other instead of avoiding another upset and messing up everything they got going on and all their dollar amounts. Because as soon as they lose to Ugas, that super matchup that's gone. That Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather money, that shit's gone. Okay, yeah. You ain't getting that back. And
I will hope that happens. Yeah. So that the whole shit go flip on them, the whole script go flip on them.
I'd love to see it, but part of me would also die because you still want to see that Spence Crawford. We already lost Pac Spence. We can lose future big matchups like that too from Ugas.
I mean, what do you guys think about if Bud fights Ugas? I mean, either way, it's like it would be somebody more high level on his record, though. Whether he wins or lose, at least he has a name on his record in the welterweight division that garners some respect.
I would love that fight, and I would have to think more in depth about it. I mean, I would need a couple of weeks to see who I even favor in that fight because I think that would be a closely contended fight. People want to say, like you were saying, it's not all age, but a lot of people think it was. When they saw it, it looked age, but it also looked like he was outclassing him. Okay, he controlled the distance very well. He counterpunched Pacquiao, and he counterpunched in numbers. He wasn't just landing one; he was landing 2, 3, 4. I mean, he was landing combinations every time Pacquiao got within range. Yeah. And he got back out of range.
Think about it too. That's like, I mean, when's the last time Pac faced someone that was that high and with that much reach as well? Yeah. Plus, adding on 2 years layoff on that, like.
You know what it is.
One more thing, Javi. Don't forget about my article about these last minute replacements, baby.
That's right. The last minute replacement syndrome, right? Right. I remember Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say that too. I think it's a combination of everything, like the crashes of style, the last minute replacement syndrome. It has to do also with might be some brain rust in there, but a lot of people are saying that Father Time's catching out with Pac-Man because for some reason they were made to believe that Ugas was not a good fighter or was not on the level of Spence. So Pacquiao was supposed to win and win it spectacular so that he can hold on the belt to Spence. When that didn't happen, and this out of nowhere unknown guy just came to spoil the party, now people want to make an excuse like, oh, that's Father Time. It's not. That could be it, but you gotta give Ugas, like Lucas said, he counter attack, the style, the size difference, the speed, just everything. It was trouble for Pacquiao, and I saw it from the second or third round when I was like, okay, Pacquiao, like on the 4th, 5th round, you could tell Pacquiao was like kind of being accommodated, even complaining about the ref about the low blows when it didn't even look like a low blow. He's looking for every little extra stuff because he knew what he had in front of him. And you gotta give Ugas that thing because Ugas Ugas did this in a 12-day, 11-day notice. Like, imagine he would have a full camp for Pacquiao. Maybe he would have stopped him. Who knows?
Well, we gotta say the camp side for both sides though. Pacquiao was preparing for Spence. This is a completely different style, and Pacquiao had to switch gears too. And to be honest, I think Pacquiao's team should be to blame for this because that's a bad thing. Like we were talking about, I'm not putting him up against him. Why? That's a bad style matchup. When we know,
have a choice.
Yes, we know. Well, you got a choice. You can back out the fight. There's got to be somebody else that's going to take it at last minute, not just Ugas. Ugas is a good fighter to be going in there last minute against.
I was going to mention that PBC has been doing this quite frequently lately, where they're putting like number 1 and number 2s or number 3 and number 4s on the same card. That way, in case someone got COVID or someone had something going on, an injury, they can just move that person up to match with that additional, with that same weight class. And that's kind of ingenious instead of you wanting, having to cancel an entire, matchup. I mean, an entire card that you can like slide up the competition to still have a fight. But in this particular situation, they had sold these tickets and so many people had already done all these different things to make sure that they could, support this fight between Pac and Spence, that they did not want to have to return that type of money, which I think is wrong. Like, if it's not going to be a good fight, which I thought it was going to be a good fight, I just still had Pac possibly winning if we'd have seen the same Pac that we've been seeing. I still feel that style, he would have been able to overcome those style challenges, but we didn't see that same Pac, so we didn't get that same level of competition. But I think I want to give credit to PBC for at least thinking ahead on these cards so that we don't just lose the entire big billing on some of these cards, because I think it's something that Top Rank and DAZN and a lot of other people should consider doing from now on. And that way you see a diverse, plethora of fighters from that weight class too. Like, you're learning about that weight class throughout the whole night.
That's a good idea. Let's see. Dale said, if I may, they say a great fighter has one great fight left in him. Pac had that fight with Thurman. Again, taking nothing away from Ugas, but Pac was a mere shell of himself. See, I see kind of what you're saying, Dale, I do. But at times, I saw Pacquiao of old. I saw the Pacquiao that was fighting Thurman. Let's not get it twisted. When Pacquiao got inside, he was still quick. He clearly still damaged Ugas' face, who, they were swollen shut after, the fight the next day. He can't see nothing. Okay, so the damage was still there too. What I did see was some clear frustration on Pacquiao. Like, he knew what to do, but he couldn't do it. And he gave you the trademark glove taps. He was mad at himself because he can't do what he was trying to do. Was that partly from age? I'm sure it was, but a lot of it was due in part by Ugas. So, I'm with you, but I'm not.
It was totally different view for us being there that night, but I didn't even think that Pacquiao had done that bad. I still don't believe that those two judges got the scoring right, the ones that had it so far apart.
I did want to go into that. I don't know if you all actually scored it. Of course, I have, and I know Sakura, you usually score. So, how did you see that fight? Because you were not watching it.
I was looking at it in real time, and then the Filipino fans, they dominated the audience. But to counteract that, we didn't have commentating. So, I was still seeing a different view, but I didn't get to calculate round for round. But I just know I felt that it was way closer than that, because a lot of that first half, I don't see where Ugas did so much more than Pac. But it became clear in the second half, I felt that Ugas really made a large difference in the wins. They were very like solidly his round. So that's where I differed from those two. I thought the 113, 115, the 115, 113, I thought that was more closer. I probably would have had it a little bit further, like by another round, maybe, but I did not see like Ugas just dominating the way that those two judges saw it. Plus, we were dealing with the WBA again, by the way. So
okay. You all know I love Pacquiao. I think he's going to go down as one of my top favorite fighters of all time. But Sakura, I saw it wide. I had it 117, 111. And if you guys want to check out the scorecard, I have my scorecard actually posted on our social
well.
media. Yeah, 117.
What did you have, Javi?
Yeah, I had it 9 rounds to 3.
Yep.
No, that sounds
Yeah.
I mean, I just felt like it wasn't as like dominant of a performance in the beginning rounds. I didn't see Ugas doing that much more than Pac in those rounds to me. But like I said, I need to watch it again on television because it's kind of like a whole different situation when you're there. You know what I'm saying? You're not seeing, like we saw Pacquiao, trying to do combinations and we're thinking they're landing. And then when I text you guys, remember you were like, no, they're not landing. You see what I'm saying? Like, so we're seeing a totally different fight in a live audience situation.
For sure.
I had a different viewpoint of it too, Shakura, being as I didn't score the fight because I didn't give a shit.
Don't let me spit out my wine.
Oh, man.
Where were you at watching it? I want to know where Rob was at watching it since he canceled his party.
No, the party got canceled on me. Therefore, they wanted to take the show on the road, and I watched it on some streaming service on my damn phone, sitting at the club while everybody's twerking in front of me.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's a new way to watch it, guys. You now have a fourth way to watch. You got streaming, you got with your girl, you got with your buddies at a party, and now you got with the strippers.
Guys, have we seen the last of Manny Pacquiao? Last I heard, he said 60-40 he's thinking retirement right now.
I don't think so. He's too hard-headed. He wants to go out on his shield. Well, let me back that up. In his mind right now, he doesn't want to say he's retiring. But it's like I said before. This presidential race is about to come up. He's about to be 100% into that. And boxing is clearly out the equation. If he goes another year without boxing, he's done. And that's what's going to happen if he makes a presidential run. That's one more year without boxing.
Yeah, that presidential race is set to be in May, that campaign. So May of next year. So, I mean, there is time for another fight. But what I have to say to that is, it's expensive. Campaigns, running campaigns, presidential campaigns, no matter what country you're in, costs a lot of bread. And we all know that Pacquiao has a huge team of people that he helps support and does everything he can as far as his humanitarian efforts. So with that being said, I believe that there is at least another fight in him, mainly because he didn't get the kind of money that he would have gotten had this Spence fight, gone through. That would have been a huge pay-per-view. And he would have made enough money to then say, okay, I can leave now.
So you're saying the last fight he's cashing himself out?
Yeah, I'm feeling like that the Spence fight was supposed to be the cash out. Mm-hmm. But that since that got ruined like with a week to spare and he didn't make those type of coins, I believe he's gonna come back for one more and it's probably gonna be something very lucrative that he can make a lot of money off of.
Definitely going to be a pay-per-view for sure. All right, guys, let's jump from one pay-per-view fighter to another. Let's talk Canelo finally signing with Canelo-Plant. Rob, it's a ESPN official, right? You the ESPN guy.
Yeah, they finally made this fight official. Finally. November is the date. And this is good. This is good for boxing. Not only for the fans to be treated for this caliber of a fight, but it's for undisputed title. So we have another unclear, undisputed title up for grabs. We have two guys, and we've been talking about this all night. Styles make fights. This style clash is one to pay attention to. Everybody holds their head over Canelo and what he can do and what he has done. This is a style clash.
Let me read you something that Leonard Ellerby posted. Now I know, technically he's kind of a promoter for PBC, so maybe he does favor Plant. I don't know. But Leonard Ellerby says, "Never a hater. I have an opinion just like you. Just because I feel Plant will beat him, I'm a hater? Nello is a terrific fighter who can fight his ass off, but in my opinion, Plant is all wrong for him. His recent run has taken way out of context and has some of you guys delusional."
Damn.
Plant himself said, "Do not be surprised if it looks very easy." Is this all just to promote the fight, or do you think that they have a clear shot at Canelo? And that style matchup, just like Ugas, is going to be a problem.
So here's the issue. I'll take first take.
All right.
Here's the issue. If it's going to look easy for Plant, that equals boring. Sorry. But if it is going to look easy for Plant, then that means it's going to be a very boring fight. Hence, it's going to look like Lara versus Canelo. And we all know who got the favor in that fight. So if they're planning on trying to dance around Canelo all night and get their shots in and pick their shots when they can, that's not going to work. I hope that's not what they're doing. They need some serious foot movement, but they need some offense behind that.
So what would you suggest? That he tries to go out and knock out Canelo?
Not knock him out. I think he's got to dance around him, but he's got to throw punches. He's got to use the jab. He's got to try to get Canelo on the ropes more often.
Right, but you said he's got to be moving, which still is going to equal boring because you just said the same thing about Ugas. His style is not entertaining, so you're saying Plant, even though if he just outboxes him pretty much, you're going to say he's not entertaining and it comes out boring.
I mean, that will come out boring, but he can get the victory if he does it. He just got to avoid one or two shots from Canelo, because as soon as Canelo lands something, that crowd's going crazy.
For me, it's more of a situation where, of course, Ellaby is biased. So we can just go ahead with that. But is there legitimacy in what he's saying still is the question. And yes, it still is some legitimacy in the latter part of his statement, because Canelo has been doing a lot of fluff fighting since his deal with DAZN. And that is nothing that can even be disputed. Like, nobody can even tell me that, some of his opponents, were worthy of being in the ring with him on that level. And the other thing is that to suggest that Plant, his style is a bad matchup for Canelo. Well, yeah, he does kind of have more of a boxing mover type arsenal. And he has great ring generalship. He is quick. So these are things that Canelo, previously, some other opponents have not lived up to those types of talents. And then you have someone like Lara that demonstrates something similar who caused Canelo some problems. So, it's not going to be an easy situation, but I do see that Canelo can win, of course, because he does have that type of power. And Plant doesn't necessarily like pressure. So if those were the two things that I could tell Canelo's team, which I'm not because I'm riding with Plant, but if I didn't want Plant to win, then I would, say, hey, the pressure and the power, make it work. But Caleb, he's going to have to do the same thing that Ugas just did with Pacquiao, which is control the distance, control the pace, and basically be very accurate with the punches. So, and then he still might not win. So let's just be real about that. So,
see, I think Ugas had the power to kind of back him off. I'm wondering if Plant can actually get Canelo's respect in the counter punching. See, counterpunching isn't enough. He's got to at least be able to hit him enough to keep him at bay. And that's what Ugas was able to do. Without that, Plant may just get eaten up by Canelo's pressure.
Right, because he does have a great chin.
He does. Let's see. Rob, I know you saw that comment from CJ. You can read it if you want, buddy.
My man CJ Hooker. I got here late. I told y'all Ugas was going to pull the upset. Rob, we were right, homie. And yes, we were right.
But what you don't understand, CJ, is we have a group text message outside of this. And I'll send you screenshots if you like. But he changed his pick like 2-3 times. He said, "Oh no, I'm Pacquiao by KO. Oh wait, no, it's Ugas again." He was just picking whoever at this point.
Yeah, he was changing more than Vegas odds. Yeah.
Right.
Damn.
But guys, back to this Canelo-Plant. You know, Canelo-Plant is not a name yet, but he has a good chance, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually glad that this match actually happened because they were in talks before and then it fell off. And you know, Plant said a lot of things like the type of bullshit that Canelo be doing. You know, trying to drain them out, trying to catch them at the end of a training camp, trying to like use different little bullshits
Sneaky
so that they can
underhand stuff.
Exactly. So now that all of that shit is basically they're not talking about that, and Canelo's pretty much not in September, but it's coming up for November. I believe he's giving Plant a full camp and a full chance to go at him, and probably him too. Letting us know like, okay, yeah, I'm willing to take on these guys that are somehow, some way, on the top of the list at that weight class, 168. So my thinking is, a lot of people are saying that maybe Plant is a little bit too confident, right? But hey, you're fighting against the cash cow boxing. You're getting the opportunity of your life, right? So I don't think you can go in there shy and timid. You either have to psych yourself or believe in yourself. You know what I'm saying? Until you there. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's a good matchup, and I'm glad that Canelo took this one. But I'm sure we're gonna see as the week goes by, we're gonna see a few bunch of shits coming up. Like the gloves or the ringside or who's gonna come in first, who's gonna get announced. All this little petty shit that be happening when the A guy is trying to like get into the B size under the skin and shit. So let's see. I'm curious. I think Plant does have a very high chance of being an upset, but Canelo been looking unstoppable lately, man. I think Canelo might win this one.
But listen.
Okay, you just picked those people. That ain't right.
But listen.
No, I said
it's a political answer. That's what he gave.
Hold on, Hobby.
No, fuck that.
It's not time to
Canelo.
pick it.
I
It's not
just
time
feel
to
like
pick it. That fight is very much in the future, though. We got time to pick that fight.
right.
But listen,
I'm gonna go with Canelo.
what you're talking about, Hobby, this pay-per-view card should be called Put Up or Shut Up. Okay? That's what it should be called. Because Caleb has two options here. Because he did concede it and say, let's give him everything he wants. I don't give a damn. That's how confident he is that he can go in and win this fight. And when I say that, that means no rematch clause. That means I don't get another shot at Canelo if this thing goes south and I lose. He's risking mostly everything for this fight. So it's time for him to put up or shut up. Because what are you risking it for? You're either risking it for that paycheck or you're risking it to go out there and try to prove that you can beat the great Canelo Alvarez. On the other side, Canelo looks unstoppable. It's the opposition. A lot of that is the opposition and him picking and choosing his fights. There's a reason why he's not fighting Triple G again. There's a reason why he's not fighting Canelo. There's a reason why he's not fighting Andre.
I agree with what you're saying. I do, because me and Canelo's resume. I've been up and down that thing and picked it apart. But at the same time, who is Plant beat? You know, we can't say that because the resume still isn't there also for Plant. And actually, Dale commented that as well. Look at Plant's opposition compared to Canelo. Plant will make the mistake like Billy Joe, and then we knew the outcome. I don't know if he's going to make that same mistake. Billy Joe just said, screw boxing, I'm just going to duke it out. I don't think Plant has that in mind at all. I think Plant is actually trying to win this fight, not just going out there for the lottery, not just going out there to get that paycheck and leave. I think he believes he can win. And like Rob said, I think he conceded everything and was like, you know, I'm gonna go out there. And that's what makes him dangerous to me. Is because he clearly sounds and makes it feel like he knows how to beat Canelo, and I honestly hope he does. I want to see that fight, but let's see. CJ says Canelo versus Plant. Plant has to beat the brakes off Canelo, or he loses by decision. You're right.
Oh, he's not gonna get a decision.
He's gonna be down by at least 2 rounds going.
And you know, and we all know that if he gets a draw, that means he won, but he didn't get the decision.
Right. Just like Golovkin.
This is a crazy thing about Plant. When you look at every bit of his fights, I don't think we've seen truly how powerful he can be. I don't think we've ever seen him tested in a way where he had to show that power.
Yeah.
That's one question he needs to answer in this fight. Does he even have the power to back off Canelo in certain aspects?
That's what I doubt.
With the chin, I don't think he's being chin tested like Buckle, Hurt, and Buzz, where we have to see come out from that type of adversity. But I think Plant, like Rob said, I don't think we've seen Plant's full potential yet neither. So that's why I think he has a very high chance of upsetting, or just throwing a curveball in there, and just having to make Canelo put up to another gear. Just based on what I've seen so far from both guys, I think Plant does have a very high chance, but Canelo's opposition in the past, whether pick and choose or not, whether he took them where they were already at the end of their career, Canelo's been improving lately. Canelo's been improving a lot. He's turned himself into a complete fighter from a cash cow that was being babysitted by his promoter Oscar de la Hoya. He has become that one fighter was like, okay, I can't deny it no more. I gotta recognize this guy is a complete fighter now. You know what I'm saying? So I think
ever since you said that, it's like these opponents are not living up to this level, so we don't really know exactly where Canelo is. That's my issue with it. But it's always that punch that you can't see, Javi. Like that's what makes Plant dangerous. It's like with those sweet hands, you know what I'm saying, and that quickness. It's the punches. It's the punch that you don't see, and you're not able to, adjust to it or brace yourself for it, or just like swing your head to kind of, have it braze you and stuff. That's the problem with someone like Plant. It's like it's the quickness that causes you problems. And as you say, yeah, we haven't seen him like really try to bulk up or really try to have like, lean into some power punches. For him, it's like you're getting a lot of punches, and you do feel that some of them are very hard because of that, certain sound that his punches make. But we got to see Plant on this level, and I think Canelo need to be seen at this level again as well.
Yeah.
Because like some candy apples around this sucker.
Yeah, because I really felt, and everybody keeps putting that Billy Joe Saunders thing in there. He wasn't in the ring or active. Caleb Plant has been very active. He's on a streak. He's undefeated. He's active. He's an active champion. So I absolutely think he can bring it out of Canelo.
He's a champion, but you said active champion. I don't know if I can agree completely with that. Let me continue here in just a second. Dale says he's going for it, Rob, because Plant getting $10 million. Who else going to give him that kind of payday? Come on.
That's why I answered that question, Dale, when I said he has 2 choices. He's either giving it all to take the money, or he's giving it all because he believes he can win the fight.
But mind you, he could have asked for a lot more money. And he could have cut him short on some of the things that Canelo wanted, like Mexico pay-per-view being all his kitty pie. Like, he could have been really like, I want to be greedy, and no, I want this because I know this is going to be like my only payday. But that wasn't his motivation completely. I don't believe.
Well, he could have took this 2 fights ago.
Let's do a quick deep dive,
That's
shall
true
we?
too.
Let's do a little quick deep dive on Plant. Okay, off top, who is his best opposition to date? Ugas guy?
Probably Caleb Truex.
I would consider Ugas guy above Truex.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going with him, even though I can't pronounce his name.
Now, he beat Ugas guy by a pretty wide range still. So nobody has really stepped up and actually got a good fight out of Plant. He has won pretty uncontestedly for the most part. With that being said, though, as a champion, he really does not have, those big names, those solid, top guys.
That's probably why this fight is so important to him, because he knows that his record isn't reflecting what he wants it to reflect, as far as if you're trying to really build legacy. He knows that.
But this is a big jump in experience.
Competition.
Oh yeah, for Plant, it's an enormous jump. For Canelo, we don't know, because we don't know really how tall Plant can go. So that's what makes this fight interesting, though, guys. I mean, it's up there.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Guys, and I was gonna mention too, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but when a lot of the networks and boxing outlets promoted the fight, the first poster that I saw was just it said Canelo-Plant in letters and just Canelo. Then Canelo also reposted that, but then Plant, he posted another type of promo where it was the Canelo and versus Plant in letters, and then him only by himself in the promo picture. So you already know the mental games just started. If you're paying attention to these little small details, they already started with that shit, Yeah. Because that if you think about it, right? Why would they announce a fight against 2 champions? Because Plant is a champion, and they only put Canelo in there. Okay, we get it. The casual fan may not know Plant, but you promoting the fight and not putting your opponent on the picture, you're just fucking with their head. And Plant picked on that. Props to Plant. He picked up on that little small detail, and he counterattacked right away. He posted his own promo picture of him by himself with the letters.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Canelo and Reynosa, version of it too, though. But I mean, really, they're gonna have to start playing a lot of mind games with each other. My thing is like, I'm trying to remember the last time I was excited about a Canelo fight, and I have to go back to Triple G. Like, that is a lot of years, guys. So I mean, this right here is a good fight, just because of the fact that we are able to be like really excited about the fight, and instead of being like, Yildirim, didn't he just lose? You know what I'm
saying? Yeah. Like I said, Plant checks a lot of boxes for me that would be a downfall for Canelo. The only one, and I think we touched on it enough, was the power, and can he keep Canelo off of him? That's really what needs to be answered. I think if he can, he's got a really good shot at beating Canelo.
And I think to like the point that Rob was saying before, that Canelo haven't seen the speed of Plant. Plant is pretty fast, but a lot of people be sleeping on Canelo's speed, and he has the speed and the timing, because his timing is really freaking good. So when you combine those two, your quickness is just superb. And I think Plant also gonna have to deal with the same thing, speed. Canelo has a lot of speed, especially on his counterattacks. A lot of people sleep on that.
Yeah, for sure. Now we also had another touch on Canelo here. Jake Paul on wanting to face Canelo. He's quoted as saying, "I truly believe I'd put up a better fight than Billy Joe Saunders. Am I a better boxer than Billy Joe Saunders? Time will tell. But sometimes skill goes out the window, and it turns into heart, will, determination, and that's where Billy lost." Oh, man.
Now, you talk about somebody that would be doing it for money. Right. That's this person.
Right. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Jake Paul's better than Logan Paul. I'll give him that. And I like that he's getting trained by a former champ, a cruiserweight champ. But at the same point, is he ready for that? No, he hasn't even fought an actual boxer yet. He's been fighting, what is it, like a rapper, an NBA star, and now he's fighting an MMA dude on Saturday. I don't know if anybody cares about that. The Showtime. I mean, I canceled Showtime just based off that alone. It's getting ridiculous. But the undercard, Serrano, Amanda Serrano should be pissed off about this. To be honest,
she's happy.
She shouldn't.
Yeah, she's happy.
And I think it has to do a lot of fact of her getting her biggest purse, understanding the magnitude of the fight, and just understanding the business part of this whole thing. Let's be honest here, guys. A lot of us don't like the whole YouTubers idea, and these kids, coming into and making this type of mockery of the sport. But the more that I talk with fighters here, they tell me like, listen, I don't like it, but I will do it. If that's gonna put more money in my pockets, it's gonna give me more exposure, and I have to put up with that bullshit, I will do it. So I think Jake Paul actually, he's taking the sport serious. You guys know how I feel about this whole YouTuber bullshit.
That's why I'm a little taken aback by it. I was like, wait, what is Javi saying? I thought I knew him. I don't know what's going on.
You thought you had an ally, huh?
No, I mean, what I'm saying is...
The one person I thought was on my side.
What I'm saying is, like, I give him that respect because he's lacing them up in there, and he's trying to do something. And, the whole money part, the whole business part of the what they're doing with the whole business show, then I can understand that, because at the end of the day, people have to get paid, money has to be made, and there's that type of money to be left on the table, somebody's gonna pick it up. The kid is doing it, and on that, he's putting fighters on so they can pick up too. Like, because of him, that's what I was saying, the point that I was trying to make. Amanda's happy because of him. She's probably gonna get the biggest purse of her whole career that no promoter could have done it, no network could have done it. But he comes the YouTuber kid and he put her on. So, shit like that is like, I gotta give the man respect for that. And also, it looks like he's taking it serious. I got some people in PR, that's where he trains at, that they told me, we don't like the fact that they move here to live, but when they train, they seem pretty serious. They look like they taking this shit serious. So let's see. It looks like they they're trying to make something out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with him fighting. I just have a problem with him fighting the people that he's been fighting. I want to see him fight, and work his way up like a normal fighter. I might actually be interested and be more invested in him as a fighter instead of, the gimmicky fights that comes on.
Right.
Yeah, you want my answer?
Because you can see some skill. You can.
Would you like my answer?
Go ahead.
Who gives a shit?
Man, I know this shit is coming. Oh,
you do that. That's your theme for the night. Is who gives a shit, or I don't give a shit. What's going on?
You just had a run of bad luck, Rob. Just mad at the world.
I'm just mad at the boxing world right now. We got daggone fights that are headlining more serious, getting more serious headlining opportunities in a Pacquiao fight.
I'm right there with you, buddy. I feel
Well,
bad.
nobody's liking that it's in Cleveland. I know that. Like, they're all like, what? How did it end up in Cleveland?
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah, that's a weird combination there. But Amanda Serrano, yeah, she should definitely, seize this opportunity. As Javi was saying, it is a great platform to try to get, some more eyeballs on you. And she gets paid more than she's ever gotten paid before as a female athlete. And what is that saying? That she's an elite female combat sports athlete who is a multi-division champion. And this, with the YouTubers, is going to be the most she's ever been paid. It's sad. It's disgusting. It's more than sad. It's disgusting that we continue to do females like that. Like, seriously. Like, it's also the boxing, like certain boxers, male boxers too. But like, look at her accolades. I mean, it's just ridiculous that this is going to be her biggest payday. I mean, I don't know what else we can say to prove that it's an unequal environment out here for women in boxing.
I think more things like this need to happen. Serrano should have been put on the co-main of other fights, and it's not happening. It's not being promoted correctly. I definitely agree with you there.
Yeah.
Guys, I gotta say, Monday I was watching wrestling with my boys. Okay, Logan Paul was on there, and they referred to Logan Paul as a boxer, and part of my soul died. But part of me died. They're calling him a boxer, not even a YouTuber anymore. They're calling him a boxer, and he went up and basically bragged about hitting Floyd Mayweather, and then he just bragged about how Jake was going to be beaten, and him going to be, boxing world champions, and I'm just like, I hate my life.
Like, damn, this is going to be the biggest name in boxing in a minute,
It is. I'm afraid of it turning gimmicky. I really hope that maybe some of the respect gets put back on the sport. Maybe they stop doing this and actually go for some actual fighters.
Right.
Rob, you got anything for us for rapid fire?
Who gives a shit? No. No, I didn't have anything. The only thing. Yeah. Oh, did y'all see that crazy incident with Tank Davis in his airplane or in his private jet plane?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that was some scary business right there.
We almost lost a great one. His plane was doing something. I don't know, trying to take off something. He wasn't on it yet, and it crashed.
Oh, shit.
Literally right in front of him. He was supposed to be on it, and it just crashed right in front of him. That's out there on YouTube and stuff like that. It's a crazy video if y'all want to check that out.
You know what's really scary as a parent? His daughter was with him. Like, she was sitting on that plane with him. Like that. I know he said on his Twitter video that he doesn't even want to ride a private plane ever again because of what he saw.
I don't blame him. I would have been right there. Like, nope.
Oh no, it's kind of hard to give up that kind of luxury. Doesn't Mayweather have these private planes? I'm like, wait a minute, Davis, you might be taking this a little bit too far. Like, you might say, I don't want to get on a small Cessna private plane again,
So I didn't see it. Did it start to take off and then crash? Did everybody die? Like, what happened?
Nobody was on the plane, so it was doing something. It was taking off, trying to do something. And
it was an automated plane?
No, the pilot was on there.
He said nobody will. I'm like, what?
I mean, the crew, but nobody died. Nothing happened.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, there was injuries, but not anything serious.
Look, I ain't been on too many planes, but yeah, I don't know. Flying and me don't mix well anyway. But I was getting ready to board on a plane, and they're like, "Oh, we got to take a different plane because we're missing a part," and it was raining and stuff. And then they were like, "We found the part; it's good to go." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, no, I don't want to take that plane." So I feel you, Gervonta. I feel you.
You just said exactly what happens to me the other day. We're like waiting, and they're like, "Oh, something's wrong with the plane mechanically. Some lift or machine isn't working." I'm like, I ain't getting on that. What you
right?
What you talking about, Willis?
Yeah, forget that.
Next thing I want to know, in lieu of me and all my bad juju, let's bring some positive. But what fight coming up? Which one fight coming up are you most looking forward to?
Well, I don't, any fight, any weight class?
Any fight coming up.
Oh, any fight is coming up.
In life.
I mean, I can't even, my mind is coming a blur. I know we talked about Plant and we talked about Canelo and Plant, but what else fights is coming up?
Girl, you had Wilder Fury 3.
That's the one I was gonna say. Just so we can end it. Just so we can end it, we can move on.
I said, oh.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
Wilder Fury 3 is the big one. Plant and Canelo is gonna be big. So I like everybody to see that. But Wilder and Fury, guys, that one's gonna be a barn burner. I can't wait to see that.
I'm curious for the AJ versus Usyk though.
I'm very curious about that fight as well. And they're in Atlanta right next to you, Rob. We got Herring and Shakur Stevenson. I think that's going to be an amazing fight. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
I'll go with that one. That's the most intriguing to me. That really is, because to me it's like Herring. You know, that's the best ever that Herring's going to be facing, and it's also the best that Shakur has been facing.
And you know what, too? I think Navarrete is going to face Joel Gonzalez, the one that fought Shakur Stevenson years back. And I think also Valdez is going to face another dude that's solid, too.
Is it Roman?
Who?
Roman?
Is it Roman? I'm not sure, but I know he's going to fight
I read that it was. Don't. But I did hear that they were trying to match him up with someone in that division.
I think they already have that matchup. I just forgot the name right now. Guys, I had a question for you guys though. Like some type of quick rapid fire for y'all. Based on what happened Saturday, who would you like to see Ugas fight next? Like defend that belt against who? Any name you want to see him next? Ugas, that'd be.
I'd say Crawford.
For sure. Right. Robert Sakura.
Could be more of a chess match.
I mean, I think you got to follow the titles, and that would be it has to be somebody unified. So I mean, to make it unification. So it's either Bud or Spence for me.
Okay. So again, he's not at that level. Keith Thurman.
Fight Keith Thurman.
I would like to see that too. I mean, I'm not opposed to that one as well.
I am. I'm against it completely. I think the style matchup. I think he gets out of Thurman, no problem. I think Ugas dominates.
That's what's intriguing. Dominates. To me. Look, Thurman. That's what's intriguing to me. Keith, you've been out the ring for so long. You need to be chomping off the bits to get this fight, because Ugas ain't serious. Everybody's saying he's a good fighter. He's a great fighter right now. That's what they're saying. He's a great fighter. He's not that serious.
He's a great boxer. This is the differences. He's a great boxer because he's hit and don't get hit, Cuban style.
Thurman will beat him.
But
I doubt
it. Thurman, that's a great fighter.
Like, that's what I do, folks. I call it before they see it. I see it before they see it.
Yeah.
Another question, guys. Based on what happened, and maybe hopefully that's not the last of Pac-Man. Who would you like to see Pac against if he comes back, if he's not done with the sport yet? Do you want him somebody like, high profile, big risk, low reward, or you want to give him a tune-up fight just to build his confidence back and keep him around for a little longer? Who would you like to see in a specific name from Pac-Man?
Yes, Mayweather. I feel like this is the perfect time for Mayweather to come back for his last hurrah and for them to make the hugest payday of their entire existence.
I could see that. Lucas, Rob, if Pac-Man, you match him tough. What do you do? Give him a tuna fight?
I want to see him on a beach somewhere. I think it's time to just end it. If anything, and just an easy layup, just let him go out with a win,
How about somebody like a Red Catch then for you?
Yeah, something like that.
Red Catch. Rob, what's up with you?
But a little bit bigger of a name.
Mikey Garcia.
That's marketable.
Mikey Garcia would be a good fight for him to go out on his shield with.
That's probably a loss for him too, though. That's probably a loss for him too.
But I think Mike is supposed to fight Prograis, if I'm not mistaken.
I was gonna bring that up. Yeah. So, however, what they're talking about is giving him a tune-up first, because he's been out the ring for so long. So they want to get him in the ring, give him a tune-up, and then after that, match him with Prograis.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's what they're saying right now, but Prograis was really like, he backed out of the fight. He said because he wants a tune-up, but the man, he just still backed out of it. So, I mean, I don't know if that's going to come back around or not after he gets this tune-up.
You know what? Throw him to the undercard, Robert Guerrero, who defeated Victor Ortiz. Give him Robert Guerrero.
Oh, my God.
I was going to ask you guys that, man. What were your thoughts on those two? You're like, man,
I mean, at least they were trading, I guess. I mean, it was a pretty entertaining fight. But
For some reason, I thought Ortiz won that fight, though. I didn't think Guerrero won that fight.
I don't know. It was close to me, but I'm not mad at either way.
Let's
You
have a
wanna know-
rematch for them two as well. Then how about that?
You want to know my
He
opinion
can
on
fight
that
Victor,
fight,
too.
Javi?
Huh?
You want to know my opinion on that fight?
Those two, yeah.
Who gives a
I
shit?
knew it was coming.
Damn it, Rob! I'm tired of you tonight now.
Victor Ortiz, I'm sick of you. You looked right at the camera in the interview that I saw you do, and you said, I didn't retire. You retired me, meaning the media. He said, y'all retired me. The people retired me. I didn't ever retire. I was still built for this. I was still made for this. And you go out and lose to, I'm done. I'm
Well,
done.
they did cancel his last fight because of those allegations, which never were, anything.
Substantiated, yeah.
Yeah, it never.
That's
came
not
up.
what he was talking about. He was talking about, we
But-
said he was done boxing wise. Not just because of that.
I
Remember
was
the time
gonna
when he
say
said
the fans
something
have
losing?
not stopped loving. They have not stopped loving Ortiz. We saw him after his fight. Everybody was still running up to him, still wanting to take pictures. And the guy's just speaking nice, guys. I mean, he's just like, "Oh, I'm okay, dude. I'm just tired." With a big knot on the side of his head. Like, I'm just tired. But people still love him, so I don't know where he came up with that the fans retired him. Because I mean, obviously he still has a big pull.
Man, who gives a shit?
CJ Hooker
Answer
said,
the question, then. You didn't answer the question Javi asked you.
But I thought I did too.
No, you didn't say who you
Who
like
you wanna
want to
see?
see him the most.
Who I
Okay.
want to see.
Ugas fight next.
I did. I said Keith Thurman.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, he did.
Okay.
CJ Hooker said Porter or Crawford. I think Porter will pull the upset. He is due for a win. Let's see. Winner of Porter versus Crawford. CJ Hooker. Pac versus Josh Taylor. You're trying to kill Pacquiao.
You know what? A lot of people are forgetting, too, that there's this guy around 147. I think his name is Danny Garcia. Nobody seen mention. People forgot about him. Just like this other Garcia, Ryan Garcia. Whatever happened to that kid? Is he still modeling for IG, or is he gonna come back to fight?
I don't know.
Is he dealing with
Back in
the
training
situation he was
again.
dealing with?
But Danny's saying he's going to 154, so that's why no one's bringing him up at 147 right now.
Man, that is a big mistake. I don't think Danny Garcia belonging to 154. His trainers and everybody in his corner needs to be like, I don't know what the hell you doing. If anything, you need to go down to 140. I don't know about no 154. You need to be in reverse, not in forward, fast forward there.
He's too good of a life to be ever 140 again.
But
Y'all all know that.
But Danny Garcia Pacquiao, I mean, that's a good going out match for Pac. I like that too. I mean, stylistically, that's entertaining. It's very sellable. It's a good
What
fight.
you're saying is that you think Pacquiao will beat Danny.
I think it's where we're at right now. I think both have a fair shot.
Okay, because it sounded like, well, yeah, that's a good farewell fight. He's gonna win.
I mean, it's entertaining regardless of who wins on that one. And I just, I don't know. I think Pacquiao can prepare for that no-look left hook.
Guys, so I just got a text message from a buddy of mine. It's a Ryan Garcia tweet, and it says, 2022 is going to be my year, only huge fight, let's go. What are your takes? Now he's talking 2022, guys. So I guess he's taking the whole
he's not coming
2021
back
off.
this soon. Wow. You're too young to be skipping a whole damn year. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, you can't play like that. Rob, was there anything else you had?
Well, Hobby took over my segment, so
I mean, did good. You should be happy.
you did real good, Hobby. Stay tuned
I
next
already know
week.
your
Calling
question.
it down.
Stay
Rob, your
tuned next
question
week.
tonight is, what do you care the less about? What do you not give a shit about the most? Which fight? That's gonna be your question.
Which fight do I not give a shit about the most? I'll tell you one thing I'm mad about. This is gonna shock the hell out of all of you. Where's my flyweight super flies at? Where's my super flies at this year? Where's Estrada? Where's Chocolatito? Where's Rungan V-Sal? I want to see him back. I want to see him back.
I told you that one of them was fighting Estrada.
We're so proud of you, Rob.
I mean, this is just shocking.
CJ says Spence may be forced to retire. If so, the welterweight division will be wide open. That is the sad truth. We don't know Spence is going to be able to return. And if he does return, we're not sure. I mean, look at Kell Brook. I don't think he was ever same since his eye got injured either. So, only time will tell. But I think that's going to be the end for this week. Thank you, Javi, Sakura, and Rob for coming on. As always, we don't pull any punches, as you well heard during this episode. Check us out next week, every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.